What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Sunday watch list. This is gonna be a very interesting week. We do have some economic data coming up. Remember I told you guys about the 7 a.m. news. This is 10 a.m. Eastern time, but Pacific Standard Time it'll be 7 a.m. There's always a reaction off of that 7 a.m. news. Going into Tuesday, I wouldn't want to swing anything from Tuesday to Wednesday because of the FOMC meeting. There might be some slow price action day before or the day of, right, of Wednesday, heading into the meeting. Once the meeting, then volatility starts to rise. I definitely think there's gonna be a lot of opportunity once we get into the charts. Once we get into the charts, I'll show you guys. But we have Jerome Powell on Wednesday, and then Thursday we got initial jobless claims. Friday, Powell's name shows up again. He takes part in a Fed listens event at 9 a.m., which will be pre-market on Pacific Standard Time. So going into the charts, let's start off with SPY, right? Key levels is 508.45. You can see multiple times this level holds up as a demand, and we catch bounces off of that level. So currently, Friday, we caught a pretty aggressive bounce off that level. I'm going to be looking for a rejection off of 512 again. 512 is a previous rejection level, retest level. The main setup I would like to catch though is a full break and retest below the 508.5 level. This has nothing but room back down into 505. I think that is going to be a great trade setup if that opportunity is presented. From 508 to 505 is a great move. If I am going to be going long, I need to see a reclaim of 512. The best level would potentially be 514, which is a big rejection from back here. 514 gets us back into this 516 area from back here, and 517, which is a huge rejection area, right? Pretty close to highs, a huge supply up here. Um, I would need a reclaim of 514 because you can see this was a trend line that we broke below, and we've just been retesting to the downside. If we go to 4 hour, you guys will see what that looks like, right? So I'm looking for a break and retest below 508.4 for 505. That's gonna be my main setup on SPY. That bearish divergence I pointed out last week was on point. We caught a sell-off from it. Going into the QQQ chart though, pretty similar. This one's very interesting for me as well. Below 434, you guys can see pretty big demand zone, right? Below 434, this gives us room into the 430 area. This gives us room into 430. And for upside, I'm going to be watching above 440, 439. This is where that trend line is at. A break and retest of that is very high probability for a push back into 446.8. I'm very interested in that setup if that is something that plays out, as well as this 434 break and retest to the downside to 430. Both of these setups I'm very interested in. I'm liking both of them. Based off some of the economic numbers, inflation is rising a little bit, so we'll see how the Fed makes a decision based off that, and we'll see how the market reacts based off of that on Wednesday. Um, those are my levels on Qs and SPY. Main levels of interest: 434 break and retest to the downside, 440 break and retest to the upside. Anything in between, I will be patient. I don't want to get caught up in between this because look what happened last time. We were in between those two levels, right? A lot of just indecision and choppy price action. So two levels to focus on. Those will be the levels on those names. Apple, I'm really liking Apple as well. It's kind of basing out right now, but if we look at this on a higher time frame, let's go to the daily. Been on a really nice downtrend. You see we have this trend line here. Let's go to the 4 hour. Uh, you can see that we've been rejecting this 174.33. That would be the top of the base. Bottom of the base would be 170, which is bouncing in between. I'm not too interested, but below 170, we have room down into this 167, 165 area. And if we go to daily, you'll see what type of reaction we get off of that 165, 167. So really aggressive bounce from this area, right? So if we come back into this area, very great risk reward back to the upside for potential longs, right? Apple's going to be a great long swing setup if this 165, 167 area holds. This is going to be a great swing trade if that area holds. Definitely want to see some basing out here. If this 174, 175 breaks, retest the trend line, then that's another scenario. But my favorite setup would be below a bounce here, down here in these areas. You could catch the break and retest from 170 down into that area. It'll be a good scalp, right? It'll be a good scalp. But main watch is a real long down here. See if we get something there. See if Apple starts recovering. It's been red for the whole year since January, right? Just selling off. So we'll see if Apple starts to pick up. Amazon, pretty bearish as well. We came into the 180. About to break above, back below supply at this 175 here. Break and retest of this area, holds below this area, gives us room to 172. Below 172, this is aggressive down into the 160 area. So pretty interesting setup as well. You could even draw a trend line here from there to there. Right, let's see how this one plays out. Very, very interesting. Not interested in longs unless we're above 180 for Amazon. Just keep making that clear. This could be a trend line bounce, but like I said, not interested until we get above 180. Microsoft, interesting setup as well. We broke the all-time high at 421, made a new high at 428, just completely broke back below the previous high, and potentially a lot of room back down, right? So we'll see if 421 fails to get back above. If the previous high doesn't get back, if we don't get above that previous high again, this has room down to 404 and 400, about a $15 drop. Very interesting setup on Microsoft as well. So a couple of these names are leaning bearish right now. So a lot of the big names lean bearish. That's the bias that I would have until proven otherwise, right? We always got to stay open-minded. Nvidia below Friday's low, this 865. I'm not interested in shorts until we get above like that. Really like 863, right? 863. That's gonna give us room down into the 830s, which is the next support. But I'm gonna keep a close eye on these because these are kind of having a big impact on the market right now. I'm more interested in AMD setup than Nvidia right now. Nvidia is still doing its thing, but AMD has a setup as of right now. We came and retested this 185 supply, which is now demand. You can see Friday. There's a trade I caught on Friday. Caught the bounce off this area, and we held it really well, right? Break and retest above Friday's high of 193. I definitely think we'd get up into the 200s. So if we start showing any type of bullish sentiment, this is going to be top watch for bullish sentiment up into 200. That is my target. Meta, not too interested in just yet, right? We have this trend line, but I will be a little bit more patient with Meta. Google, a little bit patient with Google as well. Now, Tesla is a name that could potentially be good to start adding shares, honestly. Probably just, if you can dollar cost average in, 100 here, 100 there, or 1,000 here. This is a good spot to average in, right? I'd say the 160, 153 area, you see the reaction we had here before, all the way up, right? But if we do flush that area, there's a small gap fill to 147. You can see right there. And below that, I mean, last time we flushed that level, it got really bad down into 100. I'm not saying that's going to happen this time, and I don't think that's going to happen this time. But I definitely think there's going to be good short-term bounces here. This could be a great bounce if it reclaims, back above the 170s, 180s. There's going to be a good potential area to start going into leaps, right? So just an interesting thing to watch. Netflix, very weak right now. About to get back above the 420, the 620, 625 area, my bad. Rejects at 615, 610, down into 600 and 591. My main setups of the week are going to be SPY below the 508.45, down into 505. I think that's going to be a good risk reward. Qs below 434, down into 430. Great risk reward, or the 440 reclaim on the Qs back into 446. Both of those provide great risk reward. And Apple's on top watch for me as well. Want to see this base, where this base heads to. And AMD above 193 gives us room into 200 or bounces back at 184. Those are my top watches for the week. Another side watch will be SMCI as it's been showing weakness. We're back below the previous high, 1080 area, 1094 area. Want to see rejects there for a push down into 1027. Like I said, it's gonna be early in the week, so these contracts might be a bit more expensive. Other than that, though, that's gonna be the Sunday watch list. I hope you guys have a great trading week. Just trade safe and make sure that you are calculating your risk reward on every single trade you're taking. Make sure to calculate it. You have a game plan. Where's my entry? Where's my stop loss? And that's gonna be it for me. I hope you guys have a great trading week and happy St. Patrick's Day.